Hey CFC, hola CFC Youth.
Hola.
Estamos súper emocionados por el servicio de hoy.
Yes, we're going to be starting our new series called Bae-sics.
Bae-sics.
Vamos a empezar nuestra nueva serie llamado Bae-sics.
Bae-sics.
Enjoy.
Disfruten.
Tu nombre montes moverá, tu nombre maldiciones romperá, tu nombre cubre todo el mar. No hay nombre más alto, no hay nombre más alto. Hay poder en el nombre de Cristo. Podemos creer juntos, vamos a cantar. Hay poder en el nombre de Cristo. Con fe y asombro cantaré, no hay otro nombre igual, nombre igual. Con fe y asombro cantaré, no hay otro nombre igual, nombre igual. Las tinieblas huyen a su voz, el único que es digno de adorar. Toda rodilla se postrará. No hay nombre más alto, no hay nombre más alto. Con fe y asombro cantaré que no hay otro nombre igual, no hay nadie más. Con fe y asombro cantaré, no hay otro nombre igual, nombre. Podemos cantar su nombre, Jesucristo. No hay otro nombre igual, Jesucristo, Jesucristo. No hay otro nombre igual. Podemos decir que hay poder en su nombre. Hay poder en no hay otro igual. Declaramos el nombre de Cristo. Hay poder, hay poder, hay poder cantar con nosotros? Hay poder en el nombre de Cristo. Hay poder en el nombre de Cristo. ¿Cuántos sabemos que el Dios viviente vive en nosotros? Amén. Sabemos que tenemos poder y autoridad porque Él es nuestra fuente de poder y autoridad, porque Él ha vencido. Amén. Podemos declarar esto sobre este lugar en este momento. Dice Proverbios que hay poder de vida en nuestra lengua. Podemos abrir nuestra boca esta noche y decir que hay poder, hay sanidad. Hay sanidad en el nombre de Jesús. Amén. Vamos a declarar con fe, con certeza, con confianza que adoramos al único Rey. Amén. Vamos a declarar: hay poder, hay poder, hay poder en Jesús. Yeah. Y asombro cantaré, no hay otro nombre, tú eres sin igual. Yeah, con fe y asombro cantaré, no hay otro nombre. Vamos a declarar su nombre: Jesucristo, 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 Jesucristo. Podemos cantar su nombre: Jesucristo, 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 Jesucristo. Un aplauso fuerte al Rey en este lugar.
Le pido que se ponga de pie a Cristian Fajardo, por favor. Cristian Camilo, tiene dos nombres. Que se ponga de pie entonces. ¿Por qué no le damos un fuerte aplauso por él estar aquí? Entonces todos los de español van a estar pasando hacia allá. Alex Moreno, que está ahí en la puerta, los va a acompañar hacia allá. Y aquí nos va a estar acompañando David Aguilar. Así que con todo vamos a tener una palabra increíble hoy.
Fantastic time.
Hello, hope everybody's doing good. So my name is David, but everybody calls me Canelo. So if you want to call me Canelo, or if you think I'm a poser, I just want to clear everything up and say that they used to call me Canelo before the boxer got famous. Yeah, all right, unbelievers in this room, just full of unbelievers. No, so I was like 13, 14, and then we're doing this thing for Father's Day, because you know how it is at church. It's, they make you do stuff when you're little. And they're like, hey, come all the way to the front and do something. And like, I had to use the restroom right before this event. So in the middle service, everybody's already up there, and they got their little, like, you built something to hand over to your dad. And like, I'm like running from the bathroom. And literally everybody's at the front, and then out of nowhere, it's like in the middle service, the pastor goes, like, we're going to wait for you. And I'm literally walking down the aisle, and I was like, I was smaller and thinner, by the way. And so I'm like walking down the aisle, and as I'm walking down, he had so much time to kill that he had the audacity to be like, apúrate, Canelito. Promise, you guys. That was it. After that, that's literally been my nickname. And actually, it was kind of funny because we're talking about, by the way, I love this title, Bae-sics. And speaking of my Bae, she was singing right here up front a little bit ago. Yeah. So she actually doesn't call me David. She calls me Canelo, which is kind of funny. But yeah, anyways, I'm like, are you sure? Yeah. Anyways, all right. With that being said, let's dive right into what we're going to talk about today. And I was given the awesome assignment of talking about being single. So I was single for a long time. So I guess I'm the expert? No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, they were like, we really need a loser to talk about this now. So I do want to talk about, just off the bat, there's 3 people that this is for. Like, you might be in the room, and I think you fall in one of these 3 categories. The first one, and this is the one that I kind of hope everybody's in, but I mean, I'm not going to be just, dumb about it, but I hope the majority of the room is in this category. And the first category is, you see dating as a means to one day finding the love of your life and spending the rest of your life together with that person. You see dating as a means to an end, and that end is, hey, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. It's going to be happily ever after, and it's going to be magical, and we're going to love like no one has loved before. Literally, Ed Sheeran writes our story in his songs. So that's like the first category. Like, you see dating as a means to an end. The second group is, you're currently in a relationship. You might be dating. Actually, you might be married. You're in a relationship. There's a significant other. I don't know, because I know that, the new generation doesn't like to label anything. So it's like, oh, we're just friends. We hold hands, we make out, but we are just friends. So you might be in the second group where it's like, there's someone that you guys, how do you guys say it? My little sister would kill me because she's like 13 years younger than me, and she says I can't use terms like following clout, and then she's like, hey, anyways, but if you guys are sliding into people's DMs, anyways, all right, there's my like far reach at being relevant. That's it. All right, next thing. So you might be in the second category, which is you're in a current relationship, and you see dating as, you're in the middle of the process, so you're like walking through the journey of dating. And then the third group falls under what back in my day we used to call the players. And this is like, I don't know how else to phrase it, but like, it's like you date like as a recreation, like, hey, check out how many girls I can get, or check out how many losers I have chasing after me, or whatever. So this idea, like this third category, like, I don't know if some of you guys fall in this group, but if you happen to fall in this third group, I'll be honest with you. This sermon or this message, it's probably not for you. Like, you're going to be listening to this, and then you're going to be rolling your eyes. But I want you to hear me out just for tonight. And this is what I want you to do. If you're in that third category where you're like, I really am just like a sports dater, like, man, I'm in just like a serial killer in a dating way, But we all know psychologically that's probably, no, I'm just kidding. And so if you're in this third category, this is my pitch to you. This is like my one, like, just listen to this part and then you can check me out. If that's you, if you're in the third category, please register this sermon. Just take notes, put it somewhere, put them on your iPhone notes, because one day, when the encounters leave you empty, when all the names and all your trophies and everything you've conquered is not enough anymore. And I hate to use this like phrasing, but when you're ready to settle down, which, by the way, I've been married for 5 years, and it could be amazing, and it doesn't feel like settling down into a boring lifestyle. But if that's you, if you're the recreational dater, one day you might feel empty. And I want you to remember this sermon, and I want you to think about it, because I hope it sticks with you, and maybe one day you can apply some of these things to that transition in your life where you're ready to actually meet someone and date them and value them and treat them and spend the rest of your life with them. All right, so that's my pitch. You might be in one of these 3 categories, and I want to be very upfront. When I speak, I try to be as clear as I possibly can, and this is kind of like the main point for tonight, and it's right here on the screen, and it's the following, and it's a little confusing, but I'll walk you through it because I think people like confusing stuff in the beginning. All right, so it makes it sound deep. So, anyways, so your past will be present in your future. And this is what this means. So, like right now, this is the main point. This is the whole, like, write this down if you want to and take this with you, because this is what tonight is literally all about. That right now, we're in the present, and you're like, well, duh. Wait, hold on, I'm explaining something. All right, so we're in the present right now. Tomorrow, your future from today, will become your present tomorrow, obviously. And then today, what just happened today, will become your past. All right? So everybody with me so far? Okay. For some reason, And for some reason, we all kind of tend to forget this. But when I eat tacos in the present, and I eat a burrito, and I go to bed like this, like just feeling horrible, I somehow feel that in my future, that's not gonna haunt me or come back into my future anymore. And in every aspect of life, obviously, as you can tell, I'm a serious athlete. I'm not. But you know why you can tell and laugh about it? Because in my present, I do nothing to affect my future. And eventually my past, it starts catching up to my future, okay? So that's the best way I can explain it in eating fatty terms. But this is true in the way we eat, in the way we work out, in the way we live our lifestyle. And honestly, and this is where I feel like we miss it. It's very true in the way that we date and in our relationships. So the way that you date, your habits, your behaviors, the way you go about your business, if you're shady, if you're slick, the way you do relationships, the way that you value others, guess what? That and they're present, and in the future, that's gonna pop out again. Your past is gonna come and haunt you into your future, and it could be haunting or it could be the benefit of what you did in your past. Does that make sense? So your past will be present in your future. And this is literally my conversation. And my conversation is, I just want to have a conversation with you because I feel, especially if you're single, this is like amazing if you're single, but if you're in a relationship, I think you should really pay attention because you're running out of time. Because once you get married, listen to me, you realize a lot of things. And it's not like an epiphany. And it's funny, but if there's married people in the room, they're probably not going to want to look over to their spouse for the next few minutes. But we live in this tension that we just didn't realize that what I did in the past, when I walked down this aisle with a white dress, it magically didn't all go away. In other words, most marriages, they do not have marriage problems. They have individual problems that they brought into marriage. Okay? So if I'm selfish right now as a single person because I pay for a $300 suit that I only fit into once, I walk down the aisle and somebody's playing this beautiful melody in the back. I say I do. I magically, for some reason, I am no longer going to be selfish when I've been practicing selfishness for 25 years. You see what I'm saying? And most of us married, we didn't realize this until we got married. And we're like, wait a minute. I thought when I said I do, everything was going to change. And I know I sound so dumb and naive, but listen, this is how we're trained. Because every movie ends with the right person meeting their perfect match. And what happens after? It's like happily ever. It always ends with like them meeting. You know what I mean? And it's like, so we've had this idea that like, and this is really like the kind of like the big part of the message is we believe this myth called the right person myth. And the right person myth, maybe you've heard about it, and it's this. It's when I meet the right person, listen to this, I'll be all right. In other words, I can live the way I want to live when I'm single. I can be me. You do you, boo. You heard that? Or maybe that's old. Maybe that's my generation. Because I'm walking through life, and guess what? One day, I'm going to meet someone that's so special, that's so amazing. They're just the right person. And then I love this. If you're a believer and if you grew up in church, we spiritualize everything. God designed them for me. Yeah. You see it, oh, girl, you're part of my rib. God just designed you. Why? Because we believe that when that person comes along, it doesn't matter that you're broken as heck, you got debt, you got $10,000 in debt, $100,000 in debt. You're like, when we walk down the aisle, our love is bigger than that debt. Our love, let me tell you something, our love is bigger than my selfishness. My love is bigger, and I don't know, because we think, like I said, it's like when I meet the right person, listen, I'm going to do me, and that person's going to accept me for who I am. And you know what's funny? The other person's on the phone because you guys are falling asleep on the phone. Actually, I don't know if this generation talks on the phone anymore. I think you guys do voice memos or other stuff. But anyways, I'm going to leave it out there. I'm not going to go there. And you think this person loves me like no one else. And I love this person like no one else. As much, my parents, they don't even know what love is. This is love right here. You've known this person for like 3 days, but yeah, your love is deep. And here's the thing. I know I'm poking fun at this, but listen, we believe this myth, the right person myth. And we believe that when we meet the right person, because that's what we've kind of been, in just influenced to believe, that when you meet the right person, everything's going to be all right. It doesn't matter that you're hecka broken on the inside. You'll be fine. You know what? You never have to be patient because that person's never going to make you be a patient person because they're never going to do anything wrong, so therefore you never have to practice patience because they're everybody say right person, right? And here's what marriages and married people know that maybe you don't know if you're not married, but it's funny because when you meet the right person, usually it's chemistry. Like, oh my God, when we talk, we just can talk for hours, and it's amazing. And then, let's be honest, like you're physically attracted to it, and you're like, no, they're such a good Christian, and they love their parents. But let's be honest, you're attracted to them physically. I mean, at least I hope so. And then, and so you think like, man, our relationship's amazing. And this is what happens. You start dating, and then you get married, and then all of a sudden, guess what? The chemistry starts being outweighed by all those pesky little things that the other person does, and you never realize, wow, this person's really dirty. This person's horrible with finances. This person does not shower, because you got to come to youth service where they put perfume, But here's the thing. And I'm gonna tell you this. The chemistry starts fading away. And I know what guys are thinking. Oh man, but the nights are gonna be amazing. Wink, wink. Maybe some girls too. But I want you to know something. When the relationship fades, all those things also fade with it. And then eventually in a marriage, and it's usually the girl, and I know I'm talking about marriage a little bit, but trust me, this is all a setup for the single part. So then in a marriage, eventually they go, you know what, this relationship is getting kind of rocky, it's getting kind of cold, the chemistry's dying, the fire is like flaming off, and they go, you know what, we should have a baby. And the guy goes, well, you require intimacy for that, so yeah, that's a great idea. And then think about it this way, and then so a baby comes, and did you guys know when it's one of the most fragile times, like one of the highest times when actually a husband cheats on his wife? It's when she's, can you guess what it is? She's pregnant. So here's the poor girl trying to fix their marriage and try to rekindle the fire, and they're going to bring a baby, and here's the husband. What a dirty person, man, just going out there, And listen, they've missed something, because throughout this whole time, when he's out there and his wife is trying to fix their marriage, and this guy's out there, and you're like, man, what a scumbag with this, that. Listen. He's out there, and guess what he thinks? He says, he meets somebody else, and he goes, wow, I think I married the wrong person, because this is the right person. And this myth goes on and on and on and on, and I'm telling you, the only reason why this is relevant to you is because they believe this right person myth. And if you're single in this room and you're just living life waiting for the right person, you're setting yourself up for a huge road and a huge path of pain, frustration. And here's the good news though, because maybe statistics say that 50% of this room probably comes from a broken home, because 50% of marriages end in divorce right now. And I'm being very conservative because I think it's up to 51 or 52 right now. So believe me, so maybe you grew up in a house where you didn't get to see the best example of marriage. Or maybe you did. Maybe you're one of those lucky people that were like, my parents, they're still together. They've loved each other for 75 years, and they're amazing. And I want something like that. Can I tell you something? The myth of the right person. And this is really what it really comes down to. Instead of walking through life waiting to find the right person, try becoming the right person. So instead of walking through life and waiting for the right person to come, we should be working on becoming the right person. And this really is brought by, this is a true story, and it's this girl that she kind of grew up in church, and then she went to college. She decided to still, and it wasn't like an epiphany where she's like, oh, I don't believe in Jesus anymore or anything. It was just literally like, my lifestyle doesn't really adjust with the way I'm living anymore, and it's just better to keep Jesus in the back of my mind. And so she started dating, and she started, just kind of exploring everything that she wanted to explore. And years fast forward, and a couple years have passed, and she's out of school, and she's working, and after a lot of time, she's still looking for the right person. She's trying to find the right person. She's trying to find the right person. And one day she meets a guy, and she finds a guy, and it was oddly enough that he was he had pretty strong values. And after digging so much more, he was like, oh yeah, I go to church, and I'm looking for a serious relationship, and I'm looking for this, and I'm looking for that. He had a great job, and it's like the person that she was waiting for. It was like her Prince Charming. It was like literally the person that I found the one. And this is what's super crazy, because she goes home so excited to her mom. And she's like, Mom, this is the perfect person. This is what he wants, and this is where he is in life, and everything aligns. And it's like literally what I've been waiting for. And the mom looks her in the eye. And this really is a true story, so it breaks my heart. And her mom who loves her, looks her in the eye and says, oh, babe, a guy like that is not looking for a girl like you. A guy like that is not looking for a girl like you. Because forever, she was searching for the right guy. She was searching for the right one instead of becoming the right one. And listen to, if I was to ask you, draw me a list of what you want in your spouse, what you want in a list of description of who you want to marry, who's the one in your life, and you're like, oh, I want somebody to love me unconditional, to be patient, to do this, to do that. And here's the funny part. If we test that list against ourselves, you know where I'm going with this. We would all fall short of our own standards. And maybe you're in this room and you're like, man, this is my first time at church, and this is weird. It is. But listen, it doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to go down the route of a broken relationship or have a horrible marriage because your own expectations that you can't even live up to aren't real. And that's a standard that's so hard to measure up. If all you're doing in life is trying to find the right person. And you know what's funny about this topic about being single, and especially when they ask you to speak on it? I'm like, let me find a Bible verse that talks about how to find the right person. And you know what's crazy about the Bible? It doesn't have a lot of content about how to find the love of your life. But you know what it's heavily built on? On becoming the right person. There's so much, and I want to fast forward you to just, we're finally going to open the Bible, and you're like, finally, dude, this guy hasn't even mentioned any Bible books. Maybe you're one of those judgmental Christians. Nah, just kidding. That's why you can't find someone. Nah, just kidding. Anyways. But that's right. You're not looking for someone. You're becoming the right person, right? All right. So, here's what happens. So the Bible gives us a lot about becoming the right person. And I'll tell you why this is important. So let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and we're going to take it. And this is a list. And I know you have your own list of what you want in somebody, and, lady on the streets, something else. I'm not supposed to say from up here. And then you got your own list, like patient, this person's going to be awesome. They're going to be hot. They're going to be super hot. And then, whatever your definition of that is, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And, but I did draw up a list, and it's not my list. This is Paul, one of the best writers in history. And he wrote a list down about what love is. And this is the list that you and I are going to take, okay? Because I'm not smart enough to create this. I'm literally just repeating this list for you. But this is not what you're looking for in someone else. This is who we are becoming, All right? And this first part of his letter starts with this. And this is the first part. He goes, hey, love is patient. You know what that means? That means love is not pushy. It waits for the other person. When you get married and your spouse is getting ready and you're in the car, I promise you this comes into play. Love is patient. And something more serious, it's not pushy. It doesn't push you to do things that you're not comfortable with doing. And if they are, then that's not love. And you want to know what's the best part about this? This is not a list for you to be like, you don't love, you don't love, you don't love. What is this a list of? I am becoming the right person. So this list is first measured against me, and I'm like, man, I need to practice patience more. And guess what? If you're single in this room, you have such a great advantage. And if you're younger, you have even a greater advantage. It's kind of like retirement. The younger you start, the more it multiplies. And plug, I sell life insurance. No, I'm just kidding, I don't. So this is what I am going to say. If you're younger, if you're single, you get to practice this right now. Stop waiting to find the right person. Start becoming the right person. And listen, and if you can start practicing patience right now, when your parents are really testing you and pushing your buttons, or your friends or your siblings, you're like, you know what? I'm becoming the right person. I get to practice with this moron. With this brother. And guess what? After a while, what happens when you start practicing something? You get better at it. And instead of waiting for Prince Charming and the love of your life, you're becoming the right person. Because nothing is sadder, listen to me, nothing is sadder than finding the person that you're looking for, and they're not looking for someone like you. So we get to practice patience. Second thing, he goes, hey, second thing you guys might want to practice is love is kind. Love is kind. And it doesn't mean that we touch everybody gently, like, oh, kind. No, this means another great word that goes along with kind is considerate. It considers the other person. Well, I just tell it how it is. Yeah, dude, but that was totally insensitive. Yeah, but I keep it real. All right, keep it real by yourself. Because there are times that, it's just a bad timing to talk to people about. You're considerate of other people, their feelings. I love this one. And this is something that's crazy. And it's kind of weird because you're like, in marriage, is this a thing? Or with my significant other? Love does not envy. You know what this means? This means that whenever you meet that person that you're like, I think this person is somebody that I can spend the rest of my life with. And then they tell you a story. And then the story is like, I don't know, like, I played soccer with two of my friends and I scored a goal. You don't go, I play professionally, Even if it's true. Like, let him have the moment. God, he scored a freaking goal. Like, you know what envy means? It means when you're not envious with the other person, it means you let them win. It means you champion. It means like, you know what? If you did something amazing, I love that about you. One of the things I love about my wife is she's super supportive, and it's kind of interesting, but like, it's weird. But like sometimes I do like seriously like nothing. Like it's sad how low the bar is. I'll throw the trash away, and she'll be like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. You are the best." And I'm like, "The heck I am," Even though she cleaned the whole kitchen, it's like, you took out the trash. Babe, you're awesome. I'm like, wow. At its root, you know what it is? Love is not envious. It does not mean that I have to outshine you. It doesn't mean that I'm intimidated when the person that I love outshines me and I'm in the background. So, and let's be honest. How many of you guys know that one annoying friend that tries to one-up you in every single thing in life? Even when they're lying, you're like, you're like, you're a liar. But anyways, so you see how annoying. Imagine being married to someone like that. And this is the worst. Imagine being that person that somebody's married to. All right. But if you're single, you get to practice that. And I'm going to start closing with this. Love is also, anyways, you don't want to be envious? Start practicing right now. Next thing. Love does not boast, and it is not proud. And we can literally spend a long time on just not being proud or not being boastful. And I'll tell you this much. I've been married for 5 years, and I've had many conversations with a lot of friends who are also married. And sometimes they share stories that I'm like, dude, I would never share that story in public because I'm talking about my wife, or you're talking about your wife. And it doesn't matter that I win in the story. If I put down my wife in public, that's not good. That's not a good outcome. Because that's not a great practice of love, because love, it does not boast and it is not proud. The next thing, and I'm going to start closing with this, verse 5, and he says, love does not dishonor others. And we could spend a long time with this, especially in the super techie world that we live in. It's so easy. It's so easy to just disrespect and dishonor people. And you know what's crazy sad? It's like you're like, yeah, but David, I'm like, what do you want me to practice? How do you want me to practice to not dishonor others? Hey, man, like, practice honoring the people that maybe don't get a lot of, like, dessert. Like, everybody's like, oh, yeah, pastors, you're awesome. Let me honor you. Or, you know, those role models in your life. But you know what's sad? Like, start practicing just with your parents. And if you can start practicing honor with your parents, start practicing honor with your siblings, start practicing with those relationships around you, guess what? When you get married, when you find the love of your life, you're going to be the right person. Because you know what it feels like. You know what it is. You've been practicing honoring others. And as I'm getting ready to close, this is the next thing that it says. And this one's kind of big, but it is not self-seeking. And that one is hard. Because isn't this like literally what is, and the whole list, I'll be honest, and it's not just this, but it's the whole list in chapter 13, Corinthians. Listen, go read it, go practice it. And here's what we're all going to find out. None of the things I talked about, this is why the room is so quiet. None of the things I talked about is easy or natural to do. That's why nobody's like, woohoo! Let me practice patience. All right, let me be more considerate. Let me be kind. Let me not boast how I crushed this person. Why? Because these things don't come naturally. That's why if you're single, if you're young, and you start practicing these things, when you're married, listen, because this would be your past, you consistently practice love. You consistently practice love right now in your present. One day in your future, that will catch up to you, where you're going to be the best person for the right person. You're going to be so ready for marriage. You're going to be perfectly ready and positioned to have the most successful relationship with someone else because you've been practicing love for so many years. And I'm not talking about the dumb, like, you know, you never buy a car without trying it. You never buy shoes without trying them first. And in our very public society where it's like, it's okay to sleep around. It's okay to just test drive it. Listen, you're practicing the wrong thing because chemistry will fade. But these practices, learning how to love right now in your singleness, will prepare you for that awesome relationship that you'll one day want to have. And how sad would it be to be in the position that this girl was, where she found the right person, but she was not what the right person was looking for. And you don't want to ruin that, because weddings are very expensive, number one. It's very embarrassing to have your relationship not work out. That's second. Imagine the gossip. But in a very much more real manner, and this is something that's very close to me, especially lately, it hurts so bad when a relationship doesn't work and there's divorce. It hurts deep to the core. It destroys you. And you know what? I don't even have to sell you on this, because some of you guys have seen it firsthand. And your relationship can be better. But it doesn't start once you're down the aisle and you get married and you get 4 sessions of premarital counseling that you're honestly not even paying attention to the month before your wedding. It happens right now in your present, because your present will reoccur in your future. your past will be present in your future. And whatever you're doing right now in your relationship, if you're practicing love right now, you want to be haunted by the great practice of love in your future. Not your failed relationships and your brokenness, because you're just out there finding the right person, waiting for someone to fulfill what probably only God can, the void that he can fill in your heart, and B, this lack of, I'm gonna wait for the right person, and all the responsibilities on them, instead of owning up to it and be like, no, I don't need the right person because I will become the right person. And this is what I love about this chapter, and everybody reads the love chapter, and for some reason they don't read this part, but I want to finish with this, and then I'm gonna pray. And the love chapter ends with this, and it's so funny because it's like it almost feels random, like, what the heck, Paul? You know? And you'll see what I mean. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 11, it says this. Out of nowhere he goes, when I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, you know what I did? I put those childish things, that childhood behind me. And can I tell you this? We all grew up in Disney. We all grew up with Pixar. We all grew up with the movies that they ended when that person, that protagonist, that main character, they found the right person. But for some reason, Paul ends this letter and he goes, hey, by the way, you know that thought that, like, if you find the right person, it's going to be all magically perfect? That's thinking like a child. Oh, you're just thinking of The Lion King. You're thinking of, I don't know what, that was my movie growing up. I don't know, but like, you're just thinking of you're probably thinking of The Notebook. That's a classic, by the way. Highly recommend it. Just fast forward the intimacy scenes. Close your eyes. No, but listen. If you walk out of here and you're like, well, I don't care what David says. I don't care, or Canelo, whatever you choose to call me after this. I don't care I'm still going to find the right person. Think like a child. Go for it. You'll realize. One day you'll grow up and you'll realize, I need to stop thinking like a child. I can't just think that fantasy. When I meet the right person, everything's going to be all right. All right. That's my challenge. If you're single, if you're in a relationship, you better start practicing right now, love. And if you're married, you're like, dang it. That's why. I'm just kidding. Maybe you have the best marriage. You should teach me. Yeah, just kidding. Anyways, honestly, let me close with this. Can I pray for you guys? And I know I've been joking around a lot. And but if I could be super candid, like, I wish somebody would have told me that what I was doing right now was going to affect my marriage in the future. Exactly how everybody is in this room and what position you're in. But I'm going to tell you right now, those habits, those behaviors, the way that you look, the way you behave, the way you, and I'm just going to say it, like the way you're actually thinking and fantasizing about a bunch of things. Let me tell you, when you get married, when you find the one, when you try to settle down, listen to me. All those things are going to start catching up to you. Because magically, you don't just change 25 years, 30 years of bad habits because you walk down an aisle. So can we all just close our eyes and come before God and be like, God, in a very real moment, we are so broken. It might be culture, it might be our friends, it might be the peer pressure, it might be what we see in the movies, it might be, maybe I don't realize this, but I'm just out there waiting for the right person to show up. And I'm missing every single moment and every single opportunity that I get to become the right person. To be the person that the person I'm looking for is looking for. And God, when that moment comes, I'm not going to miss my mark. And I'm not going to miss my opportunity because I've been practicing love. And I can endure a happily ever after relationship because I've been practicing it. Because in my relationships that I have right now, I'm practicing patience. I'm practicing, Father, to be courteous, to be kind, to not be boastful, to not be proud, to not be envious. I don't have to one up everybody. God, I'm trying to practice love right now because I want that to catch up to me in my future. But if we're keeping it real, some of us tonight, Lord, we have a very skewed way of viewing intimacy, of viewing sex, of viewing the way we just look at the opposite sex, or the way we look at relationships. Maybe some people in the room, this message, they hate it because all they want to do is date for sport. God, I just pray that in this moment, wherever we might be, that you can just leave this message in our hearts, in our minds. Because this is not a one prayer turnaround moment. This is a daily decision from this moment forward kind of night. So tomorrow and next week and next month, help me change my habits. Help me be a better person in my present so it can catch up to me in my future. Because what I sow right now, I'm going to reap later. And Father, some of us, we want to have our parents' marriage. Some of us want to have better marriage than our parents. Some of us come from horrible, horrible examples of what marriage is. And the truth for some of them tonight, they just need to hear that marriage could be awesome because it was designed to be one of the most beautiful things, Father. So I pray that tonight we make this flip of switch in our mind, that we're not just looking for the right person, but that we become the right person. In Jesus' name, amen.
Can we just, that just happened right now. Can we just thank Canelo one more time? Did y'all learn something? Y'all learned something? Good. Let's stand. Let's end the night in worship. Have you guys been having a good time so far? It's only going to get better after this. So if you guys know this song, why don't you sing with me, all right? I want to hear you guys sing it with me. We sing.
People come together, strangers neighbors, our blood is one. Children of generations, of every nation, of kingdom come. So don't let your heart be troubled. Hold your head up high, don't fear evil. Fix your eyes on this one truth. God is madly in love with you. So what? So take courage, hold on, be strong. Remember where our help comes from. Say,
want you guys to help me right here, like this. All right, we're keeping up. Come on. Okay, we want to declare this next part right here. We sing.
Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the waters come down.
Come on.
All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children,
Come on.
clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God.
Come on, His name is what? If you believe it tonight, come on, give Him a shout of praise.
Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation,
That's you.
everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus.
I think they need to hear it one more time. Come on, come on.
Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God. His name is Jesus.
We sing out. We sing. Let's sing that bridge one more time. We sing swing wide.
Swing wide, all you heavens, let the praise go up as the walls come down. All creation, everything with breath, repeat the sound. All His children, clean hands, pure hearts, good grace, good God.
His name is what? His name is what? Hey.
Jesus,
Come
our redemption,
Nice and strong. Come on.
our salvation.